Okay, this was the last program which we did, and we had the constructor written here, your init, and the two variables we had initialized. And you can see in the parameter list, we have given default values as well. So if by chance I do not pass the values for X and Y, the default values will be assigned to the variables. Okay. And we also created a destructor. Your destructor is del, okay, where we just printed a message, okay, the name of the class we displayed and say destroyed. So whenever the file gets closed, the class or the objects where we have created that file, if it is closed, the object will get destroyed. Okay, and similarly, even the class we can destroy using the del keyword. Okay, either you make a call to the del function, or whenever the file will get closed, it will automatically destroy the class. So this was the program which we did. I want to make I want to show you some small changes here. What we can do is, whenever you have a class, okay, and some methods in it, always keep the file in a separate file. So instead of creating an object here, this from line number 18 onwards till line number 27, this becomes a different part of your code. So you can keep this file, one file where we have the class separately, okay, and use this code in a separate file. So what I'll do now is I'll keep the class and the definitions which is inside the class in one file, and I'll remove this code. Okay, that is, copy this code, or I'll cut it off from here, okay, and paste it in a new file. Okay, and let me save this. The name of my file is pointxy, okay, .py. Now, whenever I want to make use of this class from a different file, the first statement which I'll be giving is your import statement. Okay, so I need to import this file. Okay, and then I can create an object from this file. Now you can change this pointxy dot pointxy. This can be done, and let me run this file first. Check if there is any error. No error here. Execute this. Okay, here you can see I'm getting the output. So 10 was the default value of X, which I printed here on line number 10 here. And then we assigned the other pointers or other variables P2 and P3 to P1. Okay, and we display the IDs of P1, P2 and P3. Any doubts in this particular program? Okay, so please remember, whenever you have some programs related to file handling, where you're doing not file handling, the classes, keep the code of the class in a different file and the main code in some separate file. Okay, and you can import the class. So what happens is, whenever I need this code, might be I'll need this code in different files. So I can easily import that particular module or the file, the py Python file, okay, using the import keyword, and start using that class to create the object and access the methods which are there in the class. I hope this is clear. Okay, there's one more thing which we did last time, and we were getting error. If you remember, we used the doc and the dictionary. If I want to see the name of the class, there was some built-in class attributes. Okay, the mistake which I was making while writing that function was I was using the object name. I was not using the class name. Actually, when we say it is a class attribute, I need to access the class attribute using the class name and not the object name. For example, if I want to know the doc content, now in this class, I have not given any string here. So let me give a string, which will be my documentation for this particular class. This class stores values of x and y. That's all I want to give you. I'll save this. Okay, done to check no errors. Reload module. This one. Okay, there's some error here. Or it is saying reload, so I can do that here. Now I can save this file. Let us say call .xy. Okay. And this is my Python file. Save this. Now after the print statement, let me give one more print command here, and I want to display the documentation part of the class .xy. Okay, so I can write .xy dot. Now double underscore is needed here in this variable or attribute, followed by a double underscore at the end as well. Okay, put a comma, and now to access this variable I'll use point xy dot, then followed by the double underscore uc double underscore. That's it. Let's enter. Now there's some error here. What it says, undefined. So the name of the file, let us say I'll use point xy dot, and then the name of the file, the class. Let me run. Now you can see this last line. It says this file stores value of x and y, and this is what I had given you. This was the doc command. Clear? Similarly, there are other attributes as well. So I'll quickly type all the attributes. The other one is, say it is the name of the file, so I'll directly print it at point xy dot underscore. Now this is regarding the dictionary. It contains the class namespace here, and because I have to make use of this point xy dot. Now point xy is the name of the file here. That's why the module name. Okay, I'm using that. And here this is the name of the class. Okay, now I run this. Okay, you get this dictionary. Okay, this is the namespace of the whole dictionary, which will contain all the details of the module, the doc part, the function name, the init, your destructor, your constructor. Okay, all the attributes which are there in that particular file, everything will be displayed, but in a dictionary form. Okay, the next command, let me put it here. So I'll print the name. If I want the name of the class, I can write point xy dot point xy dot name. Okay, this gives me the name of the file. So let me execute this line itself. Okay. Here you can see the name of the class is getting displayed. Okay. The other attribute which we have, you can print. Let me copy this whole thing from here. Okay, and the next one is module. So what is the name of the module here? The name of the module where your class is defined is again point xy. Okay, I run this line. Here you can see point xy. Now this module is nothing but your Python file. Okay, it has the extension .py. There's a difference between the name which I have given for my class, where we have P as capital, and this is the module. The name of my module is .xy, but with a small case p. Okay. Now we also can display the different base classes for this particular class which we have. So one more print statement here. Okay, and here I'll give bases. Execute this. Okay, so what is my base class here? Okay, there's a .xy error. What says type object .xy has no attribute basis. Okay, let me check. Okay, we do have this basis here, or might be it is used in a lower version, but still I'll run this. Okay, here it gives you the base class, right? It says this is my base class, right? Class object. So object is my base class for the class called .xy. Okay, so you can see for all my classes, your object is your base class. Okay, and finally, if you have any other attributes, you can use this. So these are some common inbuilt class attributes which you can access using the name of the class followed by the name of the attribute. Okay, so this was the error which we were getting last time. Now let's go ahead and I'll create a new file. For today, I'll be showing you some object-oriented concepts. Okay, like inheritance. We'll start with inheritance today. Now, what do you mean by inheritance? In case of inheritance, we will be having a parent class and a child class. Okay, whenever we want to, write a class, okay, by deriving some features or from some characteristics from the other class, I can create a subclass, okay, and inherit the other class. So what happens is whatever method, whatever attributes are there in my parent class are now accessible in my subclass. Okay, so instead of starting to write the program from the scratch, I can make use of the classes which are already available to us. Okay, and we can, in my subclass, what I can do is I can write some new features that will add to the existing features which are already there in my parent class. Now to do that, I'll just give you one example, a very small example, where we'll declare some variable in a parent class. So I'll create a class by the name parent. So I have to start with the keyword class, and let us give the name as parent here, put a colon, and I'll declare one class variable here. Okay, so let us give attribute p attribute or PATTR, okay, equal to, and I'll assign some value here. Fine. Now again there'll be a constructor written, so I'll write def init. Okay, if I want to pass any parameters, that can be done here. Right now I'm not going to pass anything, so there is only one keyword which I'll have here, the self keyword, which will refer to the current object, and inside this I'll just give a print statement which will indicate that I'm making a call to the parent constructor. So let us say calling parent constructor. Okay, that's more than enough for this example. I'll go back. Okay, so I have one attribute here and I have one method here. To write the, I'll write one more method later on, but let us see how to write the subclass or the child class. So we write class, let us give the name as child. Now we give the round brackets here. Okay, if you look at the previous class which we have declared here, there's no round brackets. Even in the previous program which we did, .xy, no round brackets were there. Okay, But in the child class, we need to give the round brackets. And inside the round brackets, we need to specify the parent class name. So here, my parent class name is parent itself. So I'll give parent here, followed by a colon. Okay. And now in this case, let me declare another variable so that let us directly write the function init into round brackets self colon, and I'll write the print statement here, say calling child constructor. Okay, so this one, complete this whole thing. Okay, and now let us create an object of the child class. So I'll write C equal to child, the round brackets, and let us run this. I want to see whether the print statements will get executed or not. Okay, or we need to call this print or the init, your constructors, through the method. Okay, we'll also write a method. I'll save this file. Let us say inheritance or example. I think save this. Now run this. Okay, you can see it is saying calling. There's only one message which is coming, calling parent constructor. Okay, whereas this line, calling child constructor, is not getting executed. Okay, that simply means that whenever I inherit the parent class, okay, what happens? The constructor gets executed, and if I have written something there, now this constructor is overridden by me. That means if I do not write this constructor also, let us say I do not write this. So I'll mark this as a comment. Okay, even this as a comment. And I have only one attribute in my parent class. Okay, I'll save this file, run it. Okay, you can see there's no output. That means what is happening, even though the class is getting created, that means the constructor is getting executed, but the inbuilt constructor is getting executed, the default one. Okay, if I write the constructor, that means I'm overriding the constructor which is already inbuilt one. So if I override the constructor, then what happens is the one which I'm writing now will get executed. Clear? Whereas in this case, when I create the object here, okay, why this is not getting printed? Anyone? Why this line calling child constructor is not getting executed? Yes, guys, any answer to this? No answer?
I think in it we have put double under.
Okay. I have made
Yeah,
a mistake.
there is problem in it.
Yeah, fine. Sorry there, I made a mistake there. Okay, anything else? Let me run this and check it out. Okay, now what happens? Now you get calling child constructor. So only this is getting executed now. What exactly is happening? Let me save this file again. Okay, now I'm getting the message calling child constructor. So why the parent constructor is not getting executed? So my question changes now. Previously the question was why child constructor was not getting executed, and I hope I have not made any mistake in my constructor there. Okay, the underscores are there. No problem there with the constructor. Okay, simply because what happens is whenever I create an object of the child class, okay, it will first go to my constructor here. Okay. Now, because in the previous case, I had made a mistake. What was happening was the inbuilt constructor was getting executed. Okay. And that's the reason what was happening. Only one message, this message was getting displayed. Now, if I want this message also to get executed, then I need to make a call to this constructor from within the constructor of your child class. Okay. And to do that, I can either make use of the super keyword. Okay. Or I can directly make a call to this function. So best way is to use the super keyword. So if I give you a super, okay, it has round brackets, dot. Now you can see this init there. Okay, I can just make a call. Can I do this way? And if I run this, I should get this message as well. So if I run this one, what is happening now? So I'm calling parent constructor first and then calling child constructor. And always remember, it has to be like in Java also. Even if I want to make a call to the constructor of my parent class, it has to be the first, you can say, command in my child class constructor. Clear? So the constructors which we are writing, okay, and especially when we are performing inheritance, it is not going to get executed on its own, especially the parent class constructor. Okay, we need to call it. Okay, that is the difference between having a default constructor and having a overridden constructor. Actually, we are performing overriding here. When we are writing the constructor, we are actually performing overriding. Okay, that means there is already a constructor, inbuilt constructor available in which class? In the base class. And what is the base class? We just saw the base class, the object class. So for all the classes, the base class is the object class. Okay. Now let us add some methods to this particular class. For both the classes, I'll add some methods so that let us see how to execute or call the methods. So my first method I'll write is parent method, so that I can make a call to it. Okay. And in this, I'll be just printing the value. So let us give a print function and see following parent method. Okay. And similarly, what I'll do is in the child class also, I will write a method. So here, let me write one method. Def child method self colon, and I just want a print statement calling child method. That's more than enough for me. And from here, now to make a call to the method, I can use C dot. Okay, let us make a call to the parent method first. So I'll write parent method and execute this. Okay. So you can see the print statement getting executed. Fine. Had I not inherited this class, if I remove this parent from here, I won't be able to make a call to this particular method by using the object of the child class. Okay, because I'm inheriting the parent class here and I have created an object of the child class, I can easily access all the methods or attributes which are there in my parent class. Now there's one attribute called ATTR, okay, which is having some value. Let us try to access that. So we'll write two more methods here inside the child class, in the parent class. Okay. First method I'll write is to set the value. If you remember, we had a function, okay, called set ATTR, right? So I'm going to write the function set attr. Okay. Now, if I'm writing this function again, whereas we already have a function, inbuilt function, that means I'm performing overriding again. Okay. The function which we are writing now will have the first preference, so it is going to execute the function which we have set. In this, I'll pass a value. So I have self, comma, and let us pass a as the value here, colon, and I'll write parent dot. What is the name of the attribute? Why I have to make use of the parent class name? Because it is a class attribute. Okay, so I need to use the class name followed by the name of the variable which we have, the attribute we have. Okay, I'll use this and assign the value which I'm passing to it. So a. Okay. Similarly, I'll write one more function. I'll override one more function which was get a double tr. Okay, so we have a function called get attr round bracket self. Okay. Now, in case of get, it is not going to. We are not going to pass any parameters here. The function is going to return a value. Okay. So I have to make use. Either I can give the return statement, or I can print something. Let me print it here directly. So I'll give print into round bracket. I can print the value of the variable, which is the parent variable. So parent attribute p a t e t r equal to, and I display the value. So again, to display the value, I need to use the name of the class dot the attribute. Okay. Now I'll come back here down, and after making a call to the parent method, let us set a value to this attribute. If you remember, the default value which we have assigned here is 100. So I can directly make a call to the get attribute by using c dot get attributes attr. Okay, and run this one. Okay, you get 100 here. Now let us set a new value. So I'll give c dot set, and the parameter I'll pass, let us pass 500 as the value. Okay. And now when I run this, my new value is now, you can see it has been set to 500. And when I retrieve the value using this function get attr, we get 200 as the answer. Okay. And again, if I, now because I have made call to all the parent methods, and we have not made a call to the child method, you can also make a call there. So I can just write c dot child method. Okay. And when I run this, it's easily seen that it can access the child method as well. Okay. Now, can I have a method which is here, and I can override inside the child class? Okay. So let me define one method here. Let us write def parent method into bracket self colon, and I give print hello, we are in child class. Okay, is this possible, guys? So I have two methods now, one in my parent class, and with the same name, same attributes, you can say, same arguments, you can say, in my child class. And if I make a call here, if I'm making a call here, you can see on line number 38, I've made a call to the parent method. The name of the method was parent method. So which one should get executed? Whether I should get calling parent method, or should I get hello we are in child class? What do you think?
Child class. Okay.
Yes, child class.
Yes.
Okay, because why? What's the reason?
Mm,
Any reason for this? Okay, let us run this.
because
What it says, hello, you can see this, hello, we are in the child class. So your answer is right, but can you give me the reason? What is actually happening here is, we already have a method in the parent class, right? Whenever we inherit the parent class, all the methods and the attributes, whatever are declared in that particular parent class, are now available to my child class. But if I want to redefine the whole thing, if suppose I'm not happy with the method which is there in the parent class, but I do not want to go to the parent class and make the changes to the parent class method, what I can do is I can restructure my whole method again. Okay, so in a way, what I'm doing here, I'm performing overloading. Okay, what I'm performing, overloading. Clear? Any doubts here? Oh, sorry, overriding. I'm performing overriding, not overloading. Any doubts? Now, what is overloading? Difference between overriding and overloading? Anyone? Yes. Any answers to this? Now, when I say my operator is performing overloading, that means depending on my parameters, okay, the functioning of my operator will change. Okay. Whereas in this case, my signature, or you can see the definition of my method, is similar to the one which is there in my parent class. The arguments are also same, 0 arguments. We have only the self keyword there. Okay, so this is overriding. Whereas if I give one more parameter here, let us say I give something here, say str equal to some value. Let us give a numerical value. If I do this, and now I make a call to the parent method, which one will get executed now? So when I run this, you will find it is saying, again, here you can see this, hello, we are in the child class. So simply because this method has been overridden by the child method which we have here. So this is not there anymore. What if I want to execute this method? How do I do it? Again, I can make use of the super keyword. So let us say I want to make a call to both the methods. So here I can give super dot and what was the name of the method? Parent method. Okay, and now I run this. Okay, so here you can see I'm getting both the calls. So calling parent method and hello, we are in the child class. Okay, so whenever, once you rewrite the whole method, okay, it will be overridden, and I can easily make a call to the parent method using the super keyword followed by the name of the method. Now this is overloading. It is not overriding. Why? Because the signature, you can see here I have only one parameter, here we have two parameters. And if I remove this overriding. Clear? Any doubts? So overriding is clear. We'll take more examples when we come later on. I think we have only 3 minutes left. So we'll stop here.